Middle English, an introductory overview. This is a text in Middle English. It's a 14th century text from a relatively famous poem, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. And Middle English in general is the state of the language from about the year 1100 to about the year 1500. And I think that you should, looking at this text, be able to recognize that it's not a foreign language, but rather an older version of this language that we're speaking and using right now, more swiftly than you could with this text of Old English that we looked at a couple of weeks ago. The changes that the English language has undergone over its history go in various stages, and in terms of grammatical simplification, which is one of the major features of English, distinguishing it from the other Germanic languages, most of the grammatical changes sort of happen by an internal clock between this and this. The simplification of the case system and conjugation and all that kind of thing tended to happen between Old and Middle English, so that Middle English in that sense might be closer to modern English. This is definitely a more alien text. It requires you to learn it as a somewhat foreign language, whereas I think to read Middle English, also the hard part of reading Middle English is you have a lot of false friends. There's a lot of semantic shift. You have a lot of the same words in Middle English and Modern English that have totally different meanings now, and I'll show you some charts of that in a minute. To recognize this text in Middle English versus Old English, you'll see that in that time period, in the early Middle English text, you still find the F character being used sometimes in some dialects, but in the main, it's no longer used. You still have the thorn character around, and we gain a new character called the yoth here, which is quite prolific in Middle English texts and quite problematic. It has lots of different readings. This is obviously a transcription. Here's the original of this particular text. Or what does this sound like? As always, I think it's more conjecture, although people who work with it would argue that they can have an idea. Let me read this. The green knecht upon groen grethely him dresses. A little lute with the head, the lair he discovers. His long lovely lockes he laid over his croon. Let the naked neck to the note shiver.